It has become quite self-evident over the course of the last few years that the political left and the right do not see the world in the same way, and this goes far beyond things like beliefs or policy positions or anything like that, but I mean that we do not share the same reality anymore, to the point where we can look at the exact same event and come away with not just different interpretations, but radically opposed interpretations. And there has not been a more immediately visceral example of this than the recent Minnesota shooting, where I mean, we've always understood this on some level. We have studied it philosophically. One of the most recent and excellent examples would be Jonathan Haidt's moral foundation theory that breaks down in a very clear-cut way how the left and the right simply value different things, and these differences in values then results in seeing the world differently. But it is even more extreme, far more so than ever before in the modern world. And this largely comes down to, well, once upon a time, political discourse was primarily held between educated gentlemen in ornate halls of power, surrounded on all sides by the constant reminder of the heavy burden of responsibility that weighted on their shoulders. Whereas today, political discourse is primarily held between one blob of screaming people yelling at another amorphous blob of people over the vast numbing distances of the internet, where all we see is a .png that we deep down don't really quite identify as another human being. And again, the Minnesota shooting. I want to show you a couple of tweets here. First from Ed Krasenstein. Wow, not only does this latest footage confirm that Renee Good had no animosity toward ICE agent Jonathan Ross, and that she was steering her car away from him as he was filming with his phone. It also confirms that Ross shot Good in the face with one hand while filming her with his smartphone in the other hand. And no, he wasn't hit by the vehicle. That sound you hear is his gun shooting. Right, before we get into whether or not that's true, we then have a separate post using the exact same footage going, holy smokes, body cam footage completely clears the ICE officer in Minneapolis. Renee Good didn't even wait for her lover to enter her vehicle. She was not trying to flee, she was trying to run over the ICE agent. Case closed. We have now the precise, exact same footage used by both individuals here. Both are looking at the same information, although this guy is using the full clip, whereas Ed here picks out a bit more of a narrow snippet. But you can see here far more detail again of the encounter, where the ICE agent goes around the vehicle filming with his phone. He is obviously gathering all of the information on the encounter, gathering the faces of the people he is encountering, gathering their registry plates, the identity of the vehicle, all of the information he can, and here's also the wife as well, before he circles the vehicle, because again, he's just taking in the information, and then the vehicle starts moving forward. And yet, we have two interpretations here that don't merely disagree, but are radically opposed to one another. Now, obviously, you are going to have cases of just simple disingenuousness, right? You are going to have people who will just lie to you, of course, like Mighty Keith here. He says here, the worst part about this video, this is the previous footage, as you can see, shows that the second footage came out, it was obvious the officer didn't get hit, nor was the woman trying to hit the officer. Alright, then the other footage comes out, even further proof now that we have body cam footage. The woman is clearly turning the wheel away from the officer and even looking towards the right of the road. So he doubles down, and again, you can see from the first footage, the car did clip the officer. You can see from the second footage, the car did clip the officer. So again, some people are simply just going to be lying. Absolutely, but that doesn't explain how we arrive again at like one side saying, oh, this clearly shows the ICE officer did nothing wrong, and the other side going, oh, the ICE officer clearly did something wrong. This is a fascinating thing to me, because it also then goes on to show the kind of divide that has become public and commonplace across America, and if we are to be honest, across the world as well, with further footage arriving like this. Minneapolis Border Patrol agents warn 2 white women in separate SUVs to stop trailing them and not impede. Don't make a bad decision today. There's further footage of this as well, showing people actively trying to obstruct agents. This is the kind of idiot behavior that you are only going to see out of moral outrage. That, and as me and Sargon talked about yesterday on Stamford Bridge, the inability to understand that you are not in a movie. This is actually dangerous. You are interfering with law enforcement, armed law enforcement, that understand very well that they are in a hostile city, that they are, in essence, under threat. And when you then move around them with a vehicle, which is obviously defined as a lethal weapon because it's a 2-ton car, this is dumb. This is very silly. And when the officer then also approaches you and goes, listen, this is stupid, it shouldn't even be information that needs to be handed out. You should know this. And then, of course, there is the politicization of it as well. The people who are riling this up, the political pundits, and in this case, it's just a goddamn comedian. What fucking right does a comedian, a fake television news anchor, have to heap fire, to heap fuel on this fire? It is absurd. And again, you also have just examples of not seeing the same world. Bodime, the ICE officer, fired his gun despite her clearly saying and showing no aggression. He then shoots her and immediately calls her a fucking bitch. So what? And this is done also for moral outrage as well. Like, oh no, he cursed at her. Man, a woman is dead. An officer was hit by a vehicle, and you worry about bad language. Be honest, you are only doing this to stoke the flames, and that is all you are doing, especially as showed no aggression. The footage obviously shows, the footage he shows here shows the agent be clipped by the car. Now, you can look further at the footage itself, and in my opinion, it does indeed show that she is pulling over the wheel to try and leave. There is also her wife on the side there shouting, drive baby drive. I do believe that she is trying to leave. I do also believe, however, she's trying to clip the agent, or at the very least, she does not care that he is in the way. And then, of course, we have the argumentation, the argumentative nature of it, where people will go, oh, ICE doesn't have any jurisdiction. Right. I don't know. I'm not an American citizen. I don't know the niceties of federal agents in other cities and so on. I don't know what political power he has, and I don't care. It is largely irrelevant to the discussion we are currently having. If armed men with official signage saying police on them stop you, you stop. It is as simple as that. That you can argue your rights all you want, but it doesn't matter in the situation. You comply, then you say, officer, I am doing this under duress because you are telling me to. And once you have survived the encounter, then you go the legal routes doubtlessly available to you to complain or sue or go after the department. There is doubtlessly a whole host of legal options available to you, especially in a city like Minneapolis. And, of course, many people are also just blowing this up, like, we'll never be safe, Trump is evil, ICE is evil. And you have also people, admittedly, who are doing actual work as well, who are trying to investigate this. Steven Crowder did this test, because a lot of people were arguing, oh, but the agent should have seen that she was steering away from him. Okay, can you see the wheels of a car whilst you stood in front of it like this? And he concludes, no. No, you can't. The only information the agent had at that moment in time was that a vehicle was moving towards him. And here's the thing too. People will go, oh, it only clipped him, it only pushed him aside. That is 2 tons of vehicle that can accelerate from 0 to 60 in literal seconds. This also from the same agent, by the way, who was dragged 100 yards by a vehicle just weeks or was it months previously. He understands that a car is indeed a lethal weapon. And no amount of quotation of, oh, but you know, the rules say this, oh, he should have moved away, will matter because he had literally 2 seconds to make his decision. And of course, yet again, you have then the argumentation of what exactly happened. The media spent 2 days telling you this person was scared and not an activist, just a lady trying to drive home. I also gave this the benefit of the Downton-Stamford Bridge just yesterday. Now, with more footage coming out, I maintain she still probably panicked, but we now know as well. This SUV, which as I noted as well, was parked really weird, just in the middle of the road, pulling out, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense either. So you have her wife outside. The wife is filming the entire thing. You can see her here with a camera. She's shouting to the agent. Well, I think at one point she even goes like, "You wanna go?" Like, this is obviously them committing a provocative act right here. Now, if they went out there planning to do this, I don't know. We don't know yet, but they were clearly acting provocative in the moment. Tim Pool pointed out as well, as the woman tries to enter the vehicle to leave, she shouts, "Drive, baby, drive." Again, with the agent directly in front of the car. Furthermore, why would her wife be outside of the car filming if this was just something that happened? This very much so seems premeditated. Now, is that enough of a crime to be shot over? Probably not. Did the ICE agent do anything wrong in responding with lethal force when believing that his own life was in risk? Probably not. At the end of the day, the only reasonable take that you can come away from here is not screaming bloody murder. It is simply to say that this was indeed a tragedy. And I don't think either side did anything wrong, at the very least not to deserve what actually happened. The woman didn't deserve to be shot for interfering with this operation. She deserved to be arrested, absolutely, and to be hit with all of the legal consequences of interfering with a police operation, to be sure. Her idiocy then, in the moment, caused this to escalate as well, and neither did the ICE agent do anything wrong either, in my opinion. He doesn't have the benefit of countless analysis of the situation. He doesn't have the benefits of slow motion or 5 different camera angles. He is going around the vehicle, gathering the intelligence that he needs. Then the vehicle shoots towards him, and he has a split second to react as the car does hit him, and then he discharges his weapon. But in our current day, this cannot simply be allowed to be what it is, a tragedy, an unfortunate set of consequences that escalated to the most unfortunate situation for both parties, as this agent has of course now already also been doxxed, and there have been several left-wing commentators posting his full name in public and then going, oh, you know, stay peaceful. We know the left is violent, and we know that that should not be allowed because we know that is a threat. The left has no moral ground to stand upon here, whatsoever ever, on this topic at all. The left was entirely quiet around previous murders. The left was cheering on murders, in fact, mere months ago. But it is nevertheless a visceral reminder of that we do not live in the same reality anymore. That is not an exaggeration. That is not a metaphor. That is not a way to blow up the issue. We actually don't see the same world. And it has grown worldwide. It has become a phenomenon that you now see everywhere, and again, the sheer extremity of it all. It really does make me wonder if there is any way back down from this. And the thing is too, I do not believe that the right should de-escalate this. As I've said in previous videos, it is not incumbent upon the right to de-escalate these situations any further. The right has been trying to de-escalate situations again and again over the years. We now find ourselves deep within the iterative prisoner's dilemma, where the only way to stop the other sides from choosing the most negative option for you is to choose the worst option for them. It is to recognize that you are being treated with active hostility and respond in kind. That fact remains true, and it is probably going to continue to lead to this kind of a divide, where you have a couple of women who obviously didn't think they'd get shot during any of this. These two women never believed that they would be met with lethal force or that any of this would happen. They thought they were protected. They thought they were living in the action movie where the good guys always win, where they are standing up to the Gestapo, which is also largely due to people like these. It is largely due to people like these continuously spouting nonsense that America is under occupation by literal Nazis, when the people that are attacking are deportation officers. It is obviously absurd, and if anyone needs to suffer the consequences, it is people like Stephen Colbert here. They are the ones who are the most responsible for these tragedies, as again, this woman believed she was doing the right thing. When she was shouting at her wife, "Drive, baby, drive, drive," she expected to simply speed away, laughing at how they'd stood up to the fascists. In the same vein as well, the ICE officers never believed for a second that he'd been in this situation to shoot a mother of three. At least I've seen contradicting report of that too, how many children she had, but for the sake of argument, or just simply a mother. He wasn't there to shoot a woman point blank. Obviously not. It is a rather insane state of affairs, straight up. And again, I'm not even going to continue commenting over which one of these world's views is the most correct. I'm pretty sure you know my opinion on that by now. But the fact that we have such unfathomably different worldviews. Again, set it aside from the people who are obviously lying to you, and by the way, should probably be punished for it as well, okay? I have arrived at the point where if you post verifiably false information on issues like this that are so incredibly politically inflamed, listen, your Twitter account just goes dead for a week. No permanent ban, no permanent consequence. You're not denied access to the platform for eternity. The bot just goes in and says, okay, you're obviously not doing anything to help the situation. You have a week cooldown period. I am more than happy to accept that stuff by now. Are there going to be false positives? Sure. Is the system going to be abused? As always, guaranteeably. But man, I really, really, really hate shit like this. Really, really hate it. As this is how we got to this point to begin with, from a situation where it doesn't seem like either party can ever climb back down from a continuously escalating series of challenges, which results in not existing in the same world anymore. Again, like this started almost as a meme. We don't see the same reality. Well, the meme has become real, as so many other memes have become. And I don't know where we go from here. I genuinely don't. We'll have to wait and see, but it sure is one hell of a start to 2026. That's for sure. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.